Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformations. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to another episode of Life Transformation Radio. I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, business positioning strategist, and international best-selling author, Sean Douglas. This show is currently heard in over 79 countries. So whether it's your first time joining us or you've been listening to us for some time, I want to thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here, we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing. We highlight that transformational moment that changed our lives and how we use it to then transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us live right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network, Tuesday through Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can join our Facebook group, Life Transformation Radio Community, and never miss an episode by subscribing wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. Life Transformation Radio can be heard on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Player FM, Radio Public, Overcast, Castbox, Himalaya app, the Google Play Music app, Pandora, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Life Transformation Radio. And as I always ask, please leave us a rating and a review to let us know how we're doing and get your thoughts about each and every episode. On the show, my guests are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcasters, authors, amazing human beings that are impacting the world around them. And my guest today has done it globally. If you have any questions for any of the guests that I bring on the show during our live broadcast, call us up at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. And with that, please help me welcome to the show my guest for today, Jared Laurence. Jared, welcome to Life Transformation Radio.
Hey, Sean, thanks for having me here.
Dude, I am pumped to have you on the show, my man.
I'm pumped to be here. I've been looking forward to this all week.
Dude, I mean, the conversation that you and I had prior to the show was not only phenomenal, but was, for me, changing my mindset in a way that didn't see some of the stuff that you and I talked about, right? Like as mainstream, like you are on the other side of that going, hey guys, nah. Let me show you the right way, because there's always a wrong way and a right way to do something, just like in business, right? There's a right way to sell things and run a business, whatever, and then there's a wrong way and scamming and all that stuff. So, and what you do is just absolutely amazing. I'm not sure I could ever do it. I'm not sure if I have the skill sets or the mindset or whatever. But what you do, man, is a craft, and I cannot wait to get into it because I think it's timely because of the social distancing and everything, right? And now everybody's online, so I want to talk about, later on in the show, I want to talk about the online dating part, which I think is going to be great for this.
For the online dating is basically the new way we're heading right now with the Corona thing, the social distancing. What I've been telling my guys, for a lot of guys who come to me, they want to learn how to cold approach, which means go up to a woman they've never seen before. And for that, this is almost impossible now. Bars are closed, restaurants are closed, so it's almost impossible. But what I'm telling everybody, listen, I hope your viewers listening also realize this, we can make lemonade out of lemons by realizing this is an incredible time right now where we can focus on our online presence, we can focus on our social media, on our Tinder, Bumbles, Hinges, whatever you're on, but also at a deeper level, we can focus on our own internal growth, our own negative thought patterns and how to break those down to build up more confidence from the inside out. And, I have my guys doing drills. This is a time to create. This is a time to absorb new knowledge because one of the biggest problems I get when I come across new guys. They always say, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. I'm very busy. Now we got tons of time to actually work on ourselves, and this can be a great fresh start for people who want to take advantage of it.
I love it. If it's acceptable to you, I'm going to get a little vulnerable and give you some of my flirting stupidity that I used to use, and maybe you can use it as a case study of what not to do, like military dudes overseas in a bar. Like, this is what you not do, right?
Sure, yeah, I love it.
We're gonna have a ton of fun, man. The title of this episode is The Psychology of Modern Flirting with lifestyle consultant Jared Laurence. Jared Psych Laurence is an international motivational speaker, CEO of Modern Flirting, author of How to Meet Your Dream Girl Tonight, and The Psychology of Modern Flirting. He's a trained therapist as well as a globally recognized lifestyle consultant and dating mentor. For nearly 15 years, Jared has been voted the best new dating mentor, received numerous awards from others in his industry, taught over 10,000 students around the world, and is credited with preventing 17 suicides, yet creating over 50 marriages. Using classically trained counseling and cutting-edge techniques, he has helped all types of clients. This includes multi-millionaire entrepreneurs, programmers, finance guys, and even the struggling college student. No stranger to helping those in distress, after volunteering at a suicide and crisis hotline center, he found his calling in coaching and mentorship. He's been featured in seminars in popular media such as MTV's Made, Oxygen's Bad Girls Club, A&E Documentary Born This Way, The Great Love Debate, the 21 Convention Men's Conference, Social Hacker Summit, World Dating Coach Summit, and ABC's Nightline, among amazing other media, and is a repeated guest on the radio show Waking Up in Vegas. You can go to his website at modernflirting.com. Calendly link right there in the show notes where you can connect with him and get a free strategy session right there by clicking the link and scheduling some time with him. His Facebook link and his Instagram is right there in the show notes as well. Jared, my first question for you, my man, I got to know why. Why dating? Why modern flirting? What is your deep why for what you do?
Okay, so this is. Do we have a little bit of time? Because there's two main things to this question of why I got into this and why I started modern flirting. They're two separate things.
Love it.
So hopefully we have time I can share my whole story here. But look, I grew up my entire life, and I was picked on. I was bullied. I was the shortest in the class, the fattest in the class. I had two friends my entire childhood growing up, okay? And being good with women was a fantasy to me. It was something that was only done in a James Bond movie. It was outside of my control. I remember going through high school depressed. I remember, going to a house party. One of my friends, one of those two friends invited me to a house party, and the girl who threw it said, "Why the fuck did you invite Jared here? I don't want him here." And I was just devastated. I remember I was deemed undateable in my school, and I found a foreign exchange student named Gabby who visited the school, and I dated her for a year and a half because she didn't know any better, quite frankly. And at the end of it, she didn't believe in premarital sex. So, of course, that means I didn't believe in premarital sex, and I was saving myself for her. At the end of that 1 and a half year relationship, she ended up dating another guy 1 month later and lost her virginity to him. And I was, again, devastated. I remember going to prom and thinking, I can't find a prom date to save my life, so I know I'll go online and find a girl who's never been to prom before and invite her because she missed her prom. And when I did that, I finally found a girl. I was super excited. I bring her to my prom. I'm thinking, this is it. My time has come. And, of course, at the end of that night, I got to watch my prom date go into the bathroom with another guy and sleep with him. And just to add salt to the wound, the next day in class, that kid told everybody how he lost his virginity that night. And this went on. I mean, these are just I can go on with these stories more and more, but this kept going on where I just couldn't get a girl. I was devastated. If I did get a girl on a date, something just bad happened. She would go off with another guy, or or just look at me like I was an alien. So I knew I had to do something. I refused to just keep living this way. To me, there was no alternative. I was, I think my password to my email was life sucks. Like, it was awful for me. And that began my journey where I said, this is a skill set. The paradigm shift that happened for me, and I urge every listener to adopt this mentality, is getting better with women and people is a skill set, which means it is a learnable, teachable skill. It is something that can build up from scratch, which goes against mainstream idea of just be yourself, just be confident and whatever. Like, no, this is like, it's like learning how to fight or jujitsu. No one in jiu-jitsu just says, just be confident, just be yourself and fight that guy. They're like, no, learn the chokehold. Learn how to position your hands. Learn your footing.
That's funny.
Right? Like, it's the same thing. No one says, oh, just be tough and you'll win. It's like, there's so much more to it than that. And I made my major in college, psychology, so I can really learn into this. And every class I took was for the purpose of getting better with women. I mean, that was really it, why I was there. I was telling people that I was going to be a psychologist, but I really had no interest in that. I just really wanted to understand why we do what we do. I did evolutionary psychology, behavioral, cognitive, you name it. And I would go out about 6 nights a week, almost like every night, just to practice religiously and figure this all out so that, no one else has to. I figured it out for them. And that's where I came up with everything. And I put classical psychology with my own experience in the self-help community. And I used that amazing trinity of knowledge, and I came up with my system. And that's how the Psychology of Modern Flirting was born. But modern flirting, I'll be honest, is a relatively new thing for me. Like, I have worked with over 5 different, over the years. I've been doing this for over 15 years. I've been working with about 5 different companies. And what I found is most coaches don't care at all for the students. They're ripping people off. There's scam artists out there. They're having people pay an arm and a leg for like 3 days of training. And when I saw how bad it was and how little these guys cared about these same guys who are just like me, who are struggling, who are looking for guidance, who really want a better life, I said enough's enough. And so I started Modern Flirting and created my ongoing mentorship program, which I find is the only way to truly learn that.
Love it. There was a show on I'm pretty sure it was MTV or VH1 called The Pickup Artist.
VH1, The Pickup Artist. Yep.
And I watched that for a while, and I was like, no way this like actually works. Like, there's no way. And this guy goes into techniques. He's like, be mean to this one, but really like this one. Like, pit the two against each other. There's multiple women in a group. Here's how you navigate the ugly best friend. I mean, there was literally like nothing this guy didn't talk about. I was like, no way this didn't work, that this actually works. But then I saw a bunch more of that stuff coming out where a guy was teaching another person to pick up a girl this way or say something sweet this way or do things. I'm like, this is and there was shows early 2000s that, and really MTV was really doing it like late 90s and then early 2000s. This was like a big movement about dating and this is how you date and, all that other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, to be quite frank, that's exactly how I got into this. So when that show came out, I was one of that guy's biggest followers. I was 100% identified as a pickup artist. Yeah. So nice. when I first started, I was using those techniques. I was going out, and they worked to an extent, I will say. The only problem is you're completely something you're not. Everything's a line, everything's a routine. It can be very manipulative at times, as you kind of pointed out. So throughout my journey, when I first started, I learned a lot of the pickup artist stuff. And what it did to me was kind of fucked me up because it essentially gave me this identity of one. And when you have an identity, you identify yourself as a pickup artist, then that means you're only worth whatever girls you can pull, whatever girls you can meet and get with. And that's a very unhealthy place of validation, and it became like a drug. So I had to get out of that. I had to go through that phase, and thankfully it was a phase. A lot of guys never get out of that. And I had to learn how to do it a new and better way that allows me to be my natural dorky self. Like I have girls right now. I take them to go see, like, I'm having 2 girls come by tonight actually, and we're going to be having a Harry Potter marathon. That just wouldn't be a thing back in the day when every single thing I said had to be like Mr. Cool and had to be like, one crazy story after another. Like, you just couldn't get away with stuff like that.
Wow. That's nuts.
So I know a lot of guys out there. I've learned a lot of random stuff, whether it's the guy you saw on TV, whether it's other companies. I just want people to know that a lot of these teachings out there can really mess you up. And it kind of set me back on my journey a lot because they're not learning the right stuff for them. They're just learning what one guy has to teach and saying that, okay, here's the only system, here's the only way. So, for instance, when I coach my guys, I don't want to create clones of myself. I'm not looking – I don't believe in methodologies or they have to do everything my way. What I try to do is figure out what works best for them as an individual and how they can maximize – I'll teach them what to do. I'll give them how this all works. But then they got to use that and figure out how that makes sense with what they're doing. Just the other weekend, unfortunately, this weekend I was supposed to be at a former student of mine wedding, but they had to cancel it due to the whole Corona thing.
Yeah.
But his approach when he found his wife or fiance right now, very different than the way and stuff I do. But we were able to figure out what works best for him, and that's just something we never got before following other types of advice.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like everything's been changed, like the way that normal life or whatever you want to call it, it's not, I want to say it's not cheesy pickup lines. I feel like when like people are having more meaningful conversations and maybe you disagree, I don't know, but I just feel like in with the way that everything's going, like everybody's concerned about feelings, everybody's into the holistic and the yoga, and we're learning more about energy healers and like all that side of the spirituality. And like a lot of stuff is more acceptable nowadays and more vulnerability has come out. So the day of the jock in a bar with a cheesy pickup line, like I feel like girls are just seeing right through the garbage. I don't know if it's because we're more connected, we're smarter, we have more information at our fingertips. I mean, I don't know what it is, but or just girls aren't shallow like as much as they were when you and I were growing up.
Yeah, I mean, I think like culturally we've adapted and have a better awareness of things now. Like back when I was in high school, they make fun of this in 21 Jump Street, where they send a guy back to high school and it's completely different. What's cool, back in the 90s or early 2000s is very different than like what's considered cool and good now. But but at the end of the day, certain principles of how to touch, how to keep a conversation going, how to what flirting actually is and how we can break that down, eliciting a girl's values and being able to display attributes that you find attractive. When we look at the key factors, then it's still as powerful now as it was back then. One of the key things I learned throughout my reading through psychology is attraction is not a choice. We are attracted to what we are attracted to, and if you can identify that and understand how that works, the principles of that, and how you can use that with your own personality type, then you can become amazing at this. It's like I said, it's just like fighting or any other skill set. However, when all you do is the same moves over and over, if all you have is a script and cheesy lines and whatever, like a story to be told. Well, one, like you said, the girls are going to see through that. They're much more aware of it now because it's been done so many times. But two, on another level is, even if they weren't, what's going to happen when those lines run out? What's going to happen when you don't have a routine anymore? You're going to have to basically be yourself. You're going to have to, have something interesting to say. And if you don't know how to do that naturally, if you don't know how to bring that up organically, then you are screwed. Because then at some point, the lines and what to say is going to run out, and it's going to be all you. So that's what I really try to maximize with my guys is how can we make the best version of themselves possible. And when I show women, so a lot of women sometimes they'll hate right away, or they'll be like, wait a minute, you're teaching men what? How dare you? And I'm like, no, please come to my conference. Come watch me in a boot camp. I invite every single girl, any girl listening to this. You always have a free ticket at any seminar I do, any training event I throw, because at the end of it, without fail, every single woman thanks me. They literally are just like, yes, thank God you're teaching this shit. Thank God you're teaching men this, because it's so accurate. It's so true. This is what we actually want. that we never, get to see. And it's, most men are just clueless about it. But when I say it, every woman, will be nodding in approval because they get it. They know that, like, yes, this would be really great. This is what I'm looking for in a guy. Something I couldn't do before.
Yeah, I like that, ma'am. And I think that's awesome that you have women like come to your conferences and like just come check me out, like actually see kind of like what we're doing, which I think is great.
I never and that's another big difference is a lot of other companies, they won't let women come in. They won't let other outsiders watch it because they're ashamed. Because quite frankly, it's appalling, some of the stuff being taught, and it's borderline sexual assault. I know one company who teaches guys to go up to a girl, grab them by the wrist, and pull them in hard and just yell, "Who are you?" Like, that's their move. That's what they teach guys. Just grab them by the wrist and pull them in. Yeah, like it's all. So no girl's going to be like, yes, that's great. Right? Every girl will be like, what the hell are you doing? With me, like I said, I'm so certain by what I'm teaching that, one, I tell the guys, look, don't take my word for it. Here's what to do. Go out and do it, and you tell me. You run the experiment. See for yourself. And with the girls, they know it at face value. They know it immediately because it hits for them.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. So I want to run some lines by you that I think is a perfect opportunity for you to just murder my chick game. So
I'm sure
I used to be in the military.
I would love to hear it.
I used to be in the military overseas. I was stationed overseas in England. And, of course, you're an American young dude, 19, 20 years old, drinking age is 18. So you go up to a pretty girl. You walk over. It's like, hey, have you ever been with an American? And, of course, it starts the conversation, And so there's your hook, right? Like, you ever been with an American? Or you'd walk over to a girl and go, hey. She'll go hi. It's like, I'm American. Yeah, like, that was it. Like, like, so dumb, so cheesy, but you're like, I'm American. Expecting a girl to just fall over you. Sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't. Most of the time, if you're like, hey, you ever been with an American? I'm free tonight. like right off the bat, just let's go home, like.
You're going pretty direct.
Oh, yeah. So bad. So bad. So bad. I've walked over to girls in bars, and she'll have a friend, and I'm like, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt. And I'll point at her, the one that I like, and I'm like, this might get my ass kicked, but you are by far the prettiest girl in this bar, even more than your friend. And then I'll just walk away. I won't even say a word, and I'll just walk away, right? And then I've literally had the friend come to me and go, are you single? Like, what's up? Like, my friend's kind of single, but, And then I've had girls go, hey, my friend wants to take you home. But it has to go to your house because her boyfriend will get mad. I'm like, what?
Yep.
What are you talking about? Like, bad, right?
It's awful. I'm going to be honest. It's kind of hard to do what I do and stuff after, you get a little bit jaded when you see the other side of things. But, I mean, let's be real. Guys are just as bad, too. But it's really just like, oh, man, I've seen married girls throw themselves at me, girls with boyfriends. It's like, it's brutal.
Oh, yeah. So my wife, who I met when I was in Utah, we lived in the same apartment building, and I saw her smoking. So we were talking, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I'm like starting to fall for her, right? I'm like, I gotta get her up to my apartment. Like I gotta do everything I can. She always turned me down. 100% always turned me down. Everything I ever said.
But
nothing
Sean,
worked on her.
Sean, did you use the American line?
Yeah, I totally did. I even told her, like, hey, here's what I even told. I used a pickup line from Top Gun, and she laughed me out of the room. We were sitting there, a bunch of us were together, and I was like, we should just go on one date. Like, come on. She's like, oh, you got to be kidding me. I was like, listen, if the government trusts me, you can too. Straight up line from Top Gun, right?
Amazing.
I'm like, if the government trusts me, you can too. I'm pulling out all the stops. She's like, get out of my face with that. Like, she laughed me out of the room, right? She even tried to hook me up with her sister. right? She tried to hook me up with her sister just to, like, get me away from her. I was like, all right, two can play that game. So then I infiltrated her family since she wanted to introduce me to her family, and I got her mom on my good side. Then I started talking all kinds of sweetness to her mom, trying to be like, look, I'm a nice guy. And like I was, like, being all sweet as hell to, like, her mom and, like, everybody in her family to the point where they were begging her to take me out. Begging her to, you should take him out. He's amazing. Like you can play this game. I'm the master of infiltration.
Know what you're talking about. You know when you're not just going full direct, you know what you're doing.
Man, I was not messing around, man. And then there's other ones, you know. I mean, everybody's got, like, their master pickup line, you know.
Right.
And so one of them, you know, because you're, like, super drunk, and I really, if I knew that I was going to try to bring a girl home, I made it a point to not drink a whole lot, because I didn't want the ramifications of, were you drunk? Was I drunk? Was it consensual? Was it not consensual? I don't know. Like, what were we doing? Like, you know, so I really, like, tried. And so at the end, when I started abusing alcohol and living a rock star lifestyle, I was like, I can pull any girl, like, all this stuff. There was a point where I would be like, listen, I may not remember tomorrow. You may not remember tomorrow, but I guarantee you tonight will be unforgettable. And that was like, that's worked sometimes for the non-classy ladies. But for most people who had self-esteem, that was a bad line.
Amazing.
Man, like, I don't know. But
it depends, you know, on the guy's personality. It really does, because there's a lot of different ways to start a conversation and go off the approach. You can keep it simple for guys who are just overthinking it. You can just go, hey, nice to meet you, or I don't think I've met you yet, and just, you know, say your name. It's a very standard. It's called the universal opener. You don't have to overthink it. However, with my personality, and this is good for guys who are playful, who are like to get into some banter, quick-witted, or guys who are a little bit more extroverted. What I found, and I'll share this with you and your listeners to be one of my favorite starters, is I'll go up to the girl and I'll say, oh my God, I was wearing the exact same thing tonight. How embarrassing would that have been? Like, I look at her outfit, her skirt, whatever, her top.
Wow.
And then she'll usually actually goes, oh, you should have, or yeah, that would be really embarrassing. And then when she's about to turn away, I go, to be fair, though, I do have the ass for it. You got to give me that. And then she starts looking at my butt, and I go, and then at that point, it goes flirty. I can say, hey, my eyes are up here, easy, watch yourself. And then it just starts going into a flirtatious thing about we're comparing each other's butts, and it instantly goes into a fun, flirty role play type situation.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Everybody try that opener out and let me know how that goes. I'm sharing you like one of my favorite ones.
So are you concerned at all when you say that, which to me, guy, awesome. However, I'm thinking 2020, not 2000 or 1990. The reason I say 2020 is because there's a lot of talk about the LGBT community, and some guys do go out like they dress in drag. I was at a conference, speaking at a conference, and 3 drags opened the event, dancing and like putting on a show, and like that's what they did. And I was like, well, this is different, but like it's acceptable. So instantly, this is how we've been conditioned for change. As soon as you said that, I was like, well, that's pretty acceptable nowadays. Like, I can totally see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can totally, I can totally see that.
If I approach her and based on my look, my fashion, my beard, my energy overall, she thinks I'm part of the LGBTQ RSVT UV or whatever community.
Yeah.
If she thinks that's the case, then there's something I'm doing fundamentally wrong with my body language, tonality, my approach, my mannerisms. Just based on the look that I give her and the approach, she should pretty much know, like, okay, now this guy is clearly making a joke about it. But here's the thing, though. Even if she doesn't, let's say she does, then that's fine too. I mean, she could if she wants to think I'm gay or whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll get flirty, but then she'll quickly, I'll through escalation, through being amping up the flirtation until she goes, wait a minute, are you gay? I'm like, no, but my boyfriend sure is. Like I can make jokes about it, all day.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty interesting. Exactly where my mind went, where I thought. Right. I'm like, oh wow, isn't that like? And I literally said it earlier. Our feelings have now gotten more evolved. We're more sensitive to other groups, to other people, right? Because before we'd have been like, oh, whatever, like made fun of them. Now I feel like it's more acceptable. It's more inclusive. It's not like he is? Like, it's not a surprise. Like, oh, okay. You know, like,
no,
like, oh,
no,
okay,
100%.
cool. Like,
I mean, there's certain words that I can't say anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
There's certain words I can't say anymore when talking to a girl. Also, I realized even like small lies, like even a lie that's like a fib or a lie that was made as a joke, they'll get offended at now. So I'm like, all right, I have to go like with radical honesty here because anything can be taken the wrong way. So you got to be walking on eggshells a little bit more now compared to when I was doing this back in like 2006, 2007.
Yep. Oh my gosh, those are 2006. I got kids in many countries. I think 2006 and 2007. Those were my 2 years, man. Like that was like because 2007 is when I got married, so I wowed out right before I got married. It was 2000. It was crazy. Like my house burned down in 2007. I had massive parties in 2007. I mean, I was at the pinnacle of pulling women home, inviting women over. Like I had a black book. I mean, it was like I was in it. And then in one fell swoop, man, house burns down during a party on St. Patrick's Day, 2007.
Ooh.
Boom. Knocked everything out. Knocked me right off the pedestal, man. And it was just, oh my gosh, bad.
You know what's
real
funny
bad.
is a lot of your listeners right now, a lot of the younger ones, probably have no idea what you meant when you said I had a black book. Like we know,
probably
like
not.
that's a dead thing. That doesn't exist anymore. But it's true.
Right?
The black
like,
book was amazing.
Oh, 100%. You're like, I'm a little bored. What? Who should I call? Yeah. Or there was like the Love Line or like some kind of a 1-800 number you could dial and like get a bunch of people on the phone. And,
you gotta go. You gotta go big scale. Go to 1-900 number.
900. Yeah, that's right. Yep. So tell us, the listener, your transformational moment. Your prom date was with some other guy on prom. You were the nerd, the geek, the loner. Everybody made fun of you. Like you were the guy that nobody would date, and now you're teaching other people how to ethically, want to foot stomp that, ethically pick up women or get a date. So what was that transformational moment, the scales for you?
Well, I remember being really depressed and going to a bookstore for answers, and I went to the self-help section because I was like, I don't know, what to do about this, about this problem. And I started reading a book about these guys going out to try to better themselves with women. And I was like, there's no way this is real. There's no way that this is a real thing. And as I Googled it, and I started realizing there's a whole underground movement of men sharing tips and giving advice on this. And from there, I was just instantly hooked. I was just like, I never realized, it never clicked with me that I could learn this. I thought it was either something you had or you didn't. And then from there, I developed more skills, whether from social circle, from how to grow my business with self-help, from how to be a better coach and get what's in my mind into the student's mind. And it just became a constant path of self-discovery and leveling myself up. I was always a kid who was into comic books and nerd game, Star Wars and video games and whatnot. And then all of a sudden I became a self-help junkie. I couldn't stop learning new skills and reading more books and figuring stuff out and growing myself. And now that's what my teaching's really about. It's so, everybody comes to me in the beginning to, as you put pick up chicks and get a date. But the reason they stay is because it goes so much more than that. They learn how to be more positive. They learn how to negotiate better and get a raise at work or start their own business. I have students who learn how to build up a social circle like ask me how to make really key friends and network with high value people. I mean, it's not just fate that I ran into you. I met you through another friend of mine, through Chris, and it's by networking myself. This is what I teach other guys as well, how to leverage their, and Chris I met through Joe. Joe I met through Eric. I mean, like, it's all through social circle, which I never had growing up. And that itself is another skill set, another way of being. And that's what I teach my guys. So really, it covers attraction and flirting. It covers social circle mastery. It covers how to create a new identity, how to be the best selves possible, how to master persuasion. I mean, this rabbit hole goes pretty far for the guys who really want to dive in and see, what their potential is.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So I want to talk about the online space because 10 years ago, you're like, oh my God, you're on a dating site? So gross. And now literally this is the way that people get dates. I mean, in 2010, in 2011, 2012, it was all about plenty of fish. It was all about, again, I think that the guy's mentality is I need to get laid. So what site can I be on?
Sean, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
40% of recent marriages, or like last year, the percent of marriages of how they met was through online. 40%.
I have a theory about that. Theory. So people who have so I don't know what the stat is. I could literally look this up, but I think it's over 50% of high school sweethearts usually end up together, get married, and whatever. Like they were dating in high school, like whatever, because they've been together for so long. The online dating space or the long distance space paired the marriages to somebody who meets at a bar or they meet at a school or whatever the reason may be that they socially interact and they got together, versus the online space. I believe that it's higher in the online space than the distance space because it's not a superficial relationship. It actually took work to build up the nerve to contact that person. You know how we talk about like keyboard warriors, right? You're more vulnerable behind a keyboard. You can say whatever you want because you're not in front of that person. You don't have to deal with the reaction. You don't have to look at their face and try to say something that's super vulnerable. And long distance, you're actually getting into meaningful conversation because it's not a relationship based on sex because you can't touch them because they're distance. Online, you haven't even met them yet. They're just met them online, so you're talking and feeling them out, right? So basically what I'm saying is I believe that the online and the long distance space breeds better relationships because it's not a superficial relationship or something just based on sex.
No, I mean, I definitely like that theory. It also gives us a more, online right now, like when we limit ourselves to cold approach, most men, the average number of women that the number of women that the average man approaches in his lifetime is 10 women. That's it.
Wow.
Most guys do not approach a random girl. And when you average it from the ones who do, it averages on to about 10 women. I personally have approached probably over 7,000. So I'm an outlier. I'm skewing that tremendously, right? If you're in the military, you're helping to push that as well.
Yeah, I've been with over 100 women, at least.
not even been with. Just approach. Like, how many have you approached that you didn't know?
Gotta be hundreds.
Exactly. But most guys never do that. And I was on pace to be one of those guys who never would do an approach. To me, that was unspeakable. So now, what that limits most men to is meeting girls through a friend. But with the dawn of the internet, now these guys can cold approach it. They're pushed to in order to meet new girls more than they'd ever have before. And now, with the Corona thing going on, you have women who are bored. You have women who are lonely. You have women who are cooped up and isolated in their house, and they're craving male attention. And this is probably one of the best times in history in order to actually find a girl who's down and really wants to get to know. It's the easiest it's ever been online. And we have more girls open to finding guys and meeting guys right now because they're not getting the attention that they get in clubs and bars and whatnot.
I agree. Yeah, I agree 100%. And I was saying the same thing, just in a different context about business. I was like, dude, now is the time to launch a podcast. Now is the time to launch a virtual summit. Now is it. People are cooped up in their house. They have nothing better to do. So instead of binge watching Netflix, people like you and I are binge watching, things like Tony Robbins YouTube videos, or binge watching or binge listening like audiobooks or podcasts or virtual summits or anything else.
I'm reading. I'm catching up on these books. I'm reading all this stuff, but I'm also watching programs like, I don't even know who Sam Ovens is, but like I'm watching him just to be a better consultant myself, be a better coach. But like it's so true. I look on Facebook and I'm seeing these guys and everybody's like, oh, there's nothing to do. We're stuck at home. Oh, well, let's do nothing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? The biggest complaint, the biggest problem I get from so many guys is I never have time for shit. People don't go to the gym because they don't have time. They don't work out because they don't have time. They don't learn a new skill because they don't have time. They don't get better with women or whatever. They don't have time, or grow a business because they don't have time. Right now, me and my friend, who used to be a personal trainer, he's a realtor right now. Today alone, we're like, let's see which one of us can get 1,000 push-ups in first by the end of the day. Like, we're just like, let's keep adding stuff to it, right? Because before we didn't have time to do 1,000 push-ups, but now we do. Let's add that in. So we're going to see at the end of this a ton, 90% of people or more, 95 really, % of people who are really caught up on Netflix and Hulu. Well, we're going to see 5% of people who have created new businesses, who are now new millionaires. Guys who now have started taking the action to become incredible with women beyond what they ever thought possible before.
100%. I said from the moment in the beginning of March, because so we're based in North Carolina, and I traveled to Utah at the beginning of the month, and I was like, man, how different. In Utah is very different than North Carolina. The mentality of all of the coronavirus and everything that's going on, like they're living life and they're praying and they're doing their thing, and North Carolina's like buying a lot of toilet paper and like freaking out. It's like it's very, 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 very different mentality of what's going on. Doesn't seem like a whole lot of people are taking this real serious in Utah, but I think they're starting to catch up because now they're closing restaurants because everybody else is. I think they're feeling the pressure. And I said, this right here, people who are real loud, I call them Facebookpreneurs, they're about to get real quiet. People who are loud and look at my car and look at my money and blah, 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 they're about to get real quiet. And this right here, this coronavirus is about to snuff you out. You will get smoked out, my friend, because my business is thriving. I've launched 3 new podcasts for people, 2 virtual summits. I've been on multiple virtual summits since January, tons of podcasts. I'm on 60 podcasts a year. I've already been on over 20. I'm already ahead of my schedule because a lot of people are pushing podcasts. So I've got more. I've literally done more sales, created more revenue, and I've already been on more media than I have usually at this time of the year, which tells me that everybody else that I'm looking at that think that they're entrepreneurs are really the Facebookpreneurs and social media gurus that are going to get smoked out in like 30 days. By this time in April, they're going to be the ones stocking toilet paper at Walmart, not talking about how their lifestyle and their private jets and all this money and blah, blah, blah. That's what I think.
No, I 100% agree with you. Doers do and talkers talk. That's just how I had to learn it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty new to the entrepreneur space. I've only been, going at it for about 1.5 years, 2 years, like really diving in. My passion for the last 15 years has just been on the coaching element and developing my skills when it comes to women in Soul Circle. But what I realized, and what was so amazing is, the first thing I did when I'm like, I'm going to start my own business, I'm going to start from scratch. I hate the way it's being done all across the industry. I want to create a new blue ocean. Fuck this. Like, I don't like this one and done stuff, right? It's not working. So I'm like, you know what? I don't know what to do right now, but I know how to learn. I know I got good at coaching. I know I got good with women. I know I got good at public speaking. And I didn't used to. And so I'm like, I'm going to apply the same thing that got me good there to business. And the teachings I teach my guys, like, same way, they use this stuff for business. About 20% of the guys who come to me, maybe 15, 20% of the guys who come to me, usually start off with some job they hate, and then eventually, with my teachings, create their own business. And they just use it with social influence because they realize, like, hey, this stuff goes beyond just women. I can be good with people in general. Well, every business is, you know, an amazing-ass product or service, really great marketing, really great salesmanship. And a lot of that, it has to do with social influence. So when I first started my journey with my business journey, I did the 3 key things that I talk about in my book to be successful at anything, which is every single day, the moment I woke up, the moment I went to bed, I was focusing on my business. Just like when I was starting to get better with women, every single day I was practicing approaching women. I also experimented relentlessly. I tracked all the data. I experimented nonstop. I made sure to keep on learning new skills that I could find, anything I could find, and just the same way was with women. And the same thing, and I got myself a mentor. Within the first month, I had $5,000 to my name. I was broke, completely broke.
Wow.
And when I started this, and $4,000 of that 5,000, I paid to get a mentor. I knew, like, if I'm going to do this, I need guidance on how to make this work. And it was one of the best decisions of my life. And I'm glad to say I was able to scale this up to a 6-figure business within 4 months, and at mid-6 figures within 6 months.
Wow. That's amazing.
And this is my first attempt ever with this. But I was passionate. I had all the right things. Like, I knew the business. I knew what was working, what wasn't. I actually cared about every single one of my students. I would bend over backwards. I would take a bullet for any of them. I knew that I wanted to actually give them something that worked. So I'm like, I know this stuff actually works, so I can believe in it. I mean, it was all lined up perfectly for me. All it took was that elbow grease. And I think that's another big thing with a lot of guys now, these Facebookpreneurs, is they don't understand that it's going to take hard work. This is not all party and glamour. Like, I'm going to be honest, before I started Modern Flirting, I was basking in what I could do with my skills. I was living the party life. I always had a table in Vegas. I was living in Las Vegas. I always had a table every night out. I would bring 15 girls out every single night. I was living a very hedonistic lifestyle. And then now, like, I might go out once a week. And even if I do go out once a week, I'm damn sure I'm getting, like, some of myself on my phone, or I'm doing it for work, or I'm coaching somebody. I'm doing it for a reason, because now most of my time is, you know, everything I can give to every single one of my students, whether it's the group calls, whether it's one-on-one calls, whether it's answering their questions in my group, whether it's planning the next retreat. I mean, you know, that's where I'm at right now, and I'm loving it. I have a better purpose in life right now doing what I do versus just, being hedonistic.
Love it. So let's talk about that, and then we'll close. How do you elevate the world around you? Is it kind of like a one-on-one coaching, online programs? Do you do conferences, events? Do you do masterminds?
Yeah.
If someone's listening right now going, you know what, I got to get better with women. I got to be, getting that job. I got to nail the interviews. How does that work?
So everything you just said, yes. So I was deciding, should I do more masterminding? Should I do more in-person stuff? Should I make my coaching more of a class type thing that can, step-by-step instruction? Should I just do groups? And then I realized, why not just do it all? I literally was like, I'm going to tackle this problem every single way possible. So once somebody joins my program, instantly they get a welcome email. They're going to be getting a one-on-one call with me where I go in, I ask them the tough questions, the hard questions to know what they need, what's holding them back, and I come up with a custom game plan for them. Then every day, they join my mastermind where we are constantly giving each other advice. We're answering questions. We are reframing our negative thoughts. We're celebrating our wins. You might see them on my Facebook. Almost every day, I post a new win from one of my students, and that's a daily basis. They also get to message me whenever they need me. On a daily basis, they can message me. They can set up what's called a 911 call with me, and I will personally talk to them one-on-one. Now, on a weekly level, on top of that, they get 3 group calls with me every single week. I interview leading authorities in this industry. I do drills with them. I answer questions. I mean, we go in depth on every single one of my calls. They also get an accountability call to make sure that they're motivated, they're staying the course, they're staying on track, they're not slacking, because it's so hard sometimes to stay accountable. But it feels awful when you got to tell somebody, yeah, I really screwed up. I don't know what I'm doing. Now, on top of that, every single one of my guys, including the program, every 3 months, I host a quarterly retreat that they get to be a part of. So they get to spend the entire weekend with me in person, face to face. And if they can't make it, I live stream the whole thing for all my international guys out there. So I have a bunch of students all around the world. I have six or seven different time zones right now. Now, if that's not enough, I've also created an online masterclass where every single week they get a new module where it's step-by-step breakdown instruction of what to do, as well as like homework assignments. They get practical application. And it's 30 weeks long. It's 30 weeks of bit-by-bit breakdown, step-by-step, int-by-numbers approach. So I'm attacking it from a masterclass level, in-person training level, an accountability level, weekly instruction, daily access to me, masterminding and accountability and support from everybody in the group. It's something that it's everything I wish I had when I first started this journey, compared to, hey, spend 3 days with a bunch of guys, and then hopefully at the end of these 3 days you got it. Like, no, this is a journey that I hope people realize it does take time, but if you have every resource necessary to succeed, then it's inevitable. You will get good at it.
Absolutely love it, man. Thank you for sharing that. And I know for a fact that somebody hopefully will contact you with your Calendly link that is in the show note for the free strategy session.
I'll do you one better. Sean, I'll do you one better. If anybody messages me on my Facebook, probably the best way to message me on Facebook, Modern Jared, or if they booked a session with me with the Calendly link, or they send me an email saying, "Well, hey, what's up? I mean, I want to talk to you. I want to help you if possible. Even if we ended up not working together, I hope I can help just in anything. Just even if you don't work with me, I would still like to have some impact on your life. So if anyone messages me or sets up a call with me and mentions your name, Sean, and says, hey, I heard you in the Sean podcast, I will give them my book for free. I'll just send it to them right then and there. So as a thank you for taking the time to actually come out, reach out to me, and because for listening to the show.
Awesome. Oh man, that's awesome. That is freaking cool, man. Appreciate that. So get in it.
Yeah.
Everybody listening right now, connect with them. Facebook, look up Modern Jared. He's crushing it. And he's not just some random pickup artist, that's not doing it ethically. The guy knows what the hell he's talking about, and he's not doing it superficially or in a negative way. So very cool, man. Dude, I want to thank you for your time. I think this is amazing, and I love where we got to that online space, especially now with the social distancing and everything. Now's the time. Yeah. Now's the time. You get with Jared. He'll show you how to crush it online and offline, and he'll show you the right way to do it, not the sleazy, Tinder, weird, superficial way. If you're looking for a relationship, Jared's the guy that's going to show you how to do it.
I love it. I appreciate the kind words so much, man. That's amazing. Thank you so much for having me here, by the way.
You're welcome, man. Absolutely, man. And shout out to Chris Burns on his podcast, which is absolutely incredible. You were on there on Chris Burns' podcast, and then we got together because he says, "Dude, you got to have this guy in your show." So, yeah, man, go listen to Chris Burns' show, Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Absolutely amazing. Chris Burns giving a shout out to the bro there. Jared, any last words, any takeaways that you literally need the audience to know and understand?
The biggest takeaway I want everybody to realize is the only thing holding you back from living the life that you know that you deserve, and having the women in your life you deserve, and the friends in the life that you know you deserve, is your own shitty excuses, is your own limitations, your own limiting belief systems. If you take action, you take that leap of faith, then you will see point blank, you will see how far this rabbit hole goes, how much you can do in your life and how big of a change is actually possible. For all the people saying, well, now's not the good time for the corona, it's never going to be the good time because there'll always be something. It's life. There's always going to be that job. There's always going to be that situation. There's always going to be that, I guess a pandemic in this case. There's always something. But if you can be that rare few, that 1% to 3% of guys who truly get good at anything, then you will say, fuck that excuse, and you will take the plunge and do what's necessary, not later, but right now, to get the life that you deserve. Nothing is holding you back but you.
Boom. Mic drop. Nailed it. Now you got to do it. Everybody listening, that's it. Final words. You got to do it. Thank you, Jared, so much for coming on the show, man. This has been absolutely everything that I hoped it would be and more, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, brother. Welcome to come on anytime. I love being on here.
Perfect, man. Yeah, we definitely got to have you back, man. When the next go around comes, we get back to like life in general. We can do the aftermath. All right, so we're out of quarantine. Like, what's everybody doing? Like, what should we be doing now? So
see the sun again.
Definitely. Perfect. Life Transformation Radio guests and listeners, thank you so much for spending time with this program. Come to you live Tuesday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe, rate, and review the show. And if you know somebody who should be on Life Transformation Radio, never hesitate to inquire and send me a message through Life Transformation Radio Facebook page or Life Transformation Radio Community Facebook group. Get in there, send a message, nominate some guests, let us know how we're doing, rate and review the show. Always wondering how we're doing and enjoy reading all of the comments about the episodes. And with that, I close the show by saying live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. And I call this living your brand. So until next episode, live a great life.